Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome to a few reviews I'm doing of. Uh, well, I like to do some Halloween episodes every year. I had to whittle it down to 10 because I had a whole bunch, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do. I like 14 or 15 or 16. I whittled it down to 10. So every Wednesday and Friday at 3 o'clock Central Times, you will get a review of a Halloween episode. So, working on those. So, now that I have access to streaming sites, or streaming services, not sites, services on my Roku TVs and phone. Uh, I can now go back and finally finish the Halloween episodes I grew up watching. Yes. Like I've already covered ones, like even Steven's episode and the Boy Meets World episodes. I don't count, and then there was Shauna's Halloween as it debuted in January, and was not a Halloween thing, just horror thing. But yeah. But I did other ones. I can't think of the top of my head. The Hughley's one. I love the Hughley's one. My Red Hots. But I didn't grow up with that one. I didn't watch the one until I was an adult. But this one I grew up with. It is the episode entitled Halloween. Of course. And it is an episode from season 1 of Phil of the Future. Ow. That was my foot. Hold on. Should have put the. Never mind. I was gonna put the DVD out or show the DVD, but Phil of the Future, if you don't know, was a short-lived show, 2 seasons on Disney Channel from 2004 to 2006. By the way, got a fan on because it is hot in my apartment. It's not hot enough outside to put the air on. It's just hot in here for some reason. So hot and no, not that hot in here. So Phil of the Future was a show, short-lived show, ran 2 seasons on Disney Channel from 2004 to 2006. And starred Ricky, now Raviv Ullman, as Phil Diffie. And the plot is that he and his family, his mom, his dad, Lloyd, I don't know his mom's name, and his sister Pim, played by Amy Bruckner, I remember that. They go on a vacation from the future, the 22nd century, the 2100s, all the way back to the 20th century, and they get stuck. They also went to the prehistoric times, the caveman times, because they have a pet caveman named Curtis Unchaga, who is also played by the same guy who plays the principal in the present time. And as far as I know, they never tried to link that he could be an ancestor. Like, there's no point where Neil just started to disappear because Curtis was there. It's just the same actor. I don't know. And so it's this futuristic family are stuck in the 21st century and have to deal with the technology of there while trying to get back to the 22nd century. Yeah. And Phil meets a friend named Keely Teslo, played by AJ Michalka. Ali Michalka, excuse me. Wrong one. Ali Michalka. And also Pim has a frenemy named Debbie Berwick, played by Kay Panabaker. And, Debbie's not in the second season. In fact, she disappears towards the end of season 1, and this episode is why. I will point out, yes, there is one more episode that was produced after this, and it comes after this. That aired after this, I should say, and was produced after this. But I've always seen this as the canonical end to Debbie Berwick because we never see her in season 2. There's only one thing that contradicts that because they never did another Halloween episode, a continuation of this. So, but we'll get to it. So, it's Halloween in 2004, and they're celebrating with a Halloween dance, which my school never did. There's no Halloween dance. I don't think so. This is a middle school though. But James K. Polk? No, that's classified. It's named after a president or something. But although I don't think it's a middle school because they're high school age, right? The Phil and Keely, they're high school age, right? They're at least like 14, 15, right? They can't only be middle school age. I don't know. Anyway. And so it starts with like a news broadcast thing because Keely hosts the news. I forgot about that, by the way. And we get Debbie Berwick saying she's going to build them. She's going to make, what is it, 20,000 cupcakes or something like that? 50,000 cupcakes? Something like that. And like, oh, that's a lot of cupcakes that she's going to make for the needy. Yes, for the needy. So, and she's looking for volunteers. Well, while they're walking down the hallway, well, first of all, after that, we get a sort of Keely and Phil kind of talk a little bit, and then we get a sort of Twilight Zone intro by Phil. And then there'll be sort of a fourth wall break where she's like, who are you talking to? The camera. Oh, and we get the theme song. And now it's Phil of the future. Never knew in history is where he would land. Phil of the future. He's a 22nd century man. Yes. And then we get to the thing where they're walking down the hallway and they see this big long line. And Phil's like, well, Debbie might do it after all, but it turns out this line is not for Debbie. There is no Debbie. Why do I miss her? Wrong show. It's actually for Pim, who is going to demolish the old tomato factory. Because you see, Pickford, where they're from, their big export thing is tomatoes. Like Iowa's is corn. Minnesota's is rice. Theirs is tomatoes. So, yeah, they're destroying the tomato factory. There was an episode centered around tomatoes, by the way. Some about they have an extra toe or less toes in the future. I don't know. Because Keely didn't know he was from the future at that point yet. But I don't fully remember it. But it's also worth noting that the show aired out of order because the pilot episode wasn't aired till episode 10. Yeah, so the first episode, they're just already there, and they're already acquainted with the people of that time. Also, in the promos, the mom was an android, but that was cut from the final episodes. So, which is... I don't know. But, yeah, and so Debbie is like, hey, you can help with my cupcakes to Pim. And Pim's like, you know what? You can sell your cupcakes at the demolition thing and we'll split the profits. She goes, no, the cupcakes are for the needy, which she said on the TV, but, you know. And the problem is not selling the cupcakes, it's making them. So I don't know. So we got Pim is on the phone. And this is where we get the first sense that something's not right with Debbie. Because she confronts Pim and it's like, Pim, I want to apologize. I'm going to hand you a cupcake. She's like, I'll take your cupcake. She's like, will you accept my apology? He's like, I'll accept your cupcake. I'll accept a good cupcake. Dude, actually, give me a cake. It's the whole cake. I'll accept the cake. Now, I can't eat it all at once because then I probably have a heart attack. But no, I will accept the cake. Chocolate if you can. Doesn't have to have chocolate frosting, just a chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake. That's not my thing. Anyway, so she begs Pim to help her with the bake sale, which Pim says, "No, I got stuff to do." And then you get this voice, "Help with the bake sale." And I'm like, no. They couldn't come up with a better voice. It's always the uncanny valley when you have somebody mouthing something, a different voice pops out. And when you got this little girl with this "help with the cupcakes," and no, it doesn't work. Well, I forgot his name, but I'll talk about it. Yeah, so now Pim's like, So before I move on, there was a scene earlier where Phil and Keeley want to have a tandem costume, something together. Some ideas were, I'll be the macaroni, you be the packet of cheese, or something like that. He's like, well, in the future, you have different costumes. One year he went as a toddler, and it's literally just a baby there. The year before that, he went as a wrestler. He's literally the wrestler guy. And the year before that, he went as a chair. A literal chair. Yeah, I don't know. You only went to one house because it's the exact same house each year. Apparently. Because in the future, you have technology to turn yourself into whatever you want. Yeah. So, that night, Phil was going to get milk out of the fridge and drink from the carton. You don't do that. I can do that because I'm the only one that drinks my milk. But you leave it to the family. You don't do that. Pim takes it and is going to make help make the cupcakes, and she's got flour over her face. And he's a little confused, but he turns around, and the dad is there with a bunch of stuff on his face. He goes, "Oh, don't worry about me. Snow cone just exploded. A snow cone just exploded on me." I'm more concerned with that than I am with whatever's going on with Pim. How did the snow cone explode? I don't know. Am I missing something here? There's a scene somewhere that gives an explanation. It might have been before this, actually, now that I think about it. We might have had a scene after Debbie's talking to Pim where Phil comes home and his dad asks for his help. And there's a futuristic catalog, and one of them is the Sugar and Spice 800, who looks an awful lot like Debbie Berwick. And they're like, nah, no, it's not. Listen, it can't be Debbie. It's like, the problems that they had was that they were evil. Yeah, that's a big problem. They also had an overheating problem, but it was the evil part. He's like, no, it can't be Debbie. Those were disposed of and sent to the early 2000s, early 21st century. He's like, Dad, we're in the 21st century. Oh no! So my question has always been about this. Why not destroy them? What, you know, why? Like, you see this in a few TV shows where, like, oh, we dispense them, throw them back in time. Like, Power Rangers did that, but that I understood. They got rid of the Quantum Morpher and the Q-Rex, sent them through time to protect them. This was sent through time to dispose of them. Why not just destroy them? Don't you have like a Mesher in the future or something? It only works for this plot line to work. Is that they had to dispose, you know. And to that end, why aren't there more? Is she the only one left? Do you think there would be a bunch of Debbies? Is there a Debbie Berwick in all 50 states? Also, her being a robot, this reveal that she's a robot, contradicts the thing earlier when she's talking to Pim and she goes, Mumsy always said you have to be nice. What Mumsy? You're a robot. You're a robot. You're a robot. There's no Mumsy. Unless Mumsy was the one person who created you. I don't know. But now, basically, Pym is a slave, for lack of a better term. Keely and Pym are going to the Halloween dance as a two-headed hockey player, which was a joke that Phil made, but they're doing it. And or is this where he does that? I don't know. But they get there and there's nobody at the dance. And why would they? Because this gym doesn't look like it would hold a whole school full of people. But there's no one there. And I just want to point out that when they show all the kids that are doing the work, there are none of the recurring characters, except for Braceneck, or whatever her name is there. There's no Seth, no Tia, which Seth and Tia are their friends. Brenda Song is Tia. No Seth, no Tia. I don't think they introduced Myron yet. Tanner's not there. There's supposed to be the whole school is there making the cupcakes, and we see none of the recurring characters. None of them. I don't think Tanner was even a part of that anymore. But I don't know. Just Debbie and Braceneck, or whatever her name is, who really has to go to the bathroom, but they just had a bathroom break 7 hours ago. No! If you're sitting on that pee for 7 hours, you're in pain. You know what I mean? You ever wake up in the middle of the night, sleep for a couple hours, and it hurts so much, and when you have to pee, it just feels like the pain go, you know? There's no way she sat for 7 hours on that pee. There's just no way. And then for a female to sit on it, there's no way to hold it. There's nothing to hold. Where you're a boy and you can kind of do that when you're a kid, when you really gotta go, you know? And you're sitting there. My son did that when he was little. We're watching something and he's like, if you gotta go potty, go potty. You have it, it's a DVR, we can pause it. Go. Just, that's why he tells me, I have to pee. And he'll go and I'll pause it, you know? But you should just sit there or hold it. I'm like, do you have to pee? Yeah. Go! Don't hold it. Jesus. That could cause damage to your urinary tract, man. You don't want that. To have him sit there for 7 hours holding a pee. Come on. I'm more worried for those who have to go take a dump. And we're sitting on that for 7 hours. But yeah. I also want to point out, so they leave, and then, so they're walking around the school, and this gag doesn't make any sense. First of all, they're walking, and the skeleton pops out. Keely screams, and Phil goes, and Phil says, it's just a prop. It's just supposed to scare you. It's fine. Then a bat falls down. It's okay. It's just plastic, just rubber. But then all of the lockers open up with Debbie's face. What the hell is even that? How do you explain that? You can say that the other two were set up by the people who were doing the dance. By the way, if they're all working for Debbie, who set up the stuff for the dance? That just popped in my head. And I hear something sounds like a slow and steady drum beat. There's a problem with that. Pym's in there hitting the drums, telling him to go. That's when he had I gotta go to the bathroom. No, you did 7 hours ago. And boom, boom, boom. And when she said 7 hours ago, it reminded me of the Drake and Josh episode. Yes, hey Drake, or we're like, you were supposed to be home 2 hours ago, and where were you, Drake? That's how she said 2 hours ago. I don't know. But anyway, so Debbie is watching them, so they have to be cautious of what they say. Here's the problem. So Pym's like, here, I got a cupcake for you. No, I don't want it. Don't you look at the chicken cupcake? She says that, and if I was Debbie, I go, what are they looking at? But no, it says, help me. So then Phil grabs another one and says, I'll try. That was just sitting there, saying, I try. Then Pim sneezes, and Keeley pulls one that says, bless you. First of all, I don't think Debbie would mind if you said bless you. She's very into manners. But there's just cupcakes that say bless you and I'll try. So they leave, and they're like, we need a call for help. Don't know who they're going to call. And then Keeley says this. She says, my cell phone's in my locker. Why is it in your locker? And for that matter, didn't you guys come there together? Wouldn't he know it's in your locker? Do you have to say, why is it in her locker? What teenager doesn't carry their phone around? What teenager doesn't have their phone attached to their hip? I mean, come on. But no, they open it, Debbie's picture's in there, they grab the phone, then Debbie is just there. And she's dressed all evil, which kind of undermines the sugar and sweet tooth 800 thing where they have to look all sweet. This is now just dressing evil kind of thing. More of the disembodied voice. And she backs them into there's a chase thing. They win the costume contest, but who's there to announce it? That is another question. Where the hell are the adults? Because there's no adults in there. Where are the adults? The chaperones. Hello? Where are they? Where are they? What are those? Where are they? Who makes that announcement that Phil and Keeley won the costume contest? Who? Where are the adults here? They're the only ones there, so of course they won. Oh, there's also a thing earlier where they get there, and Keeley's like, this song is so last year, but I like it. She tries to dance. She goes, no, he feels like, no, we gotta go help them. Oh, come on. Okay, fine. And they do one little dance, and then they go, after that's kind of funny. Anyway, so earlier in the episode, something I didn't mention, I forgot to mention, is that she doesn't like naughty nibblers. So they realize that and start eating the cupcakes, which causes Debbie to overheat and melt into a puddle of delicious goo. They came out wrong. It's goo, but it tastes sweet, apparently. Because Pim tastes it. She's like, it's sweet. No surprise there. And then her eyes glow red. But we're not done. Everyone is safe and sound. Pim and Keeley by this point or Phil and Keeley by this point have split in half. They've broken their costume. But like, yeah, there's like, we did it. We saved the day. And he narrates another Twilight Zone ending thing. And yeah, that's the end of Debbie Berwick. There's one more, like I said, there's one more episode. And Neanderthal is the episode. But even though that was produced after this episode and came after the episode, I still say this happens before that, unless there's something that contradicts it. To me, this is canonically the end of Debbie Berwick. It makes sense. Other than Pim eating it and having her eyes glow red, that's a horror trope thing. Like, they did that in Species and never followed up on that, so don't need to follow up on that. I don't think they ever did, so, you know. And it's one of those things where it's like a Halloween episode and it's not a dream or a story being told. Although, Phil's Twilight Zone thing is a little iffy, but you know. What are you going to do? But yeah, it's a good episode. I loved watching it every Halloween. I had a tape. I think I mentioned this. I had a tape that I record a bunch of Halloween episodes on, and I would, every year, find it, and put it in, and just watch them. I had a Christmas tape, too. A couple of those. But, because there was an old Christmas tape, I have a bunch of old stuff that I had my grandma did growing up, like The Town Santa Forgot, or Wishful Wings at Work, and the night before Christmas. But there was, and then I did my own Christmas ones, and then there was this one. I had Scary Godmother on there, and I kind of want to talk about that, but I never particularly really cared for it. You know, it was fine eventually, but no. And this is only the start. Every Wednesday and Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time, we're talking about a Halloween episode. So, what are your thoughts on this episode? You can also like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.